I see you, El Ferrer. I didn't realize that I was live. I'm still sitting in the studio. I hadn't. I guess I wasn't on. Yeah. I guess I should figure out how this platform works a little better. Just 1 second. So, who wants to talk about cuties? Everybody wants to talk about cuties. I made a Facebook comment about cuties, and it's gotten more interaction than anything I've posted in quite a while. I haven't seen Cuties. I haven't seen the whole movie. I watched probably 5 minutes of. You don't know what Cuties are? It's a movie on Netflix. Netflix has this movie out now, and it's causing a lot of drama, a lot of controversy. People are pissed off because it sexualizes children. Basically, they're 11-year-old girls. It's about a group of 11-year-old girls who's in a twerking dance squad. And when I first heard about it, I didn't think much about it. Kind of like, that's creepy. But people got pissed, and then eventually I stumbled across some clips on Twitter, and I was pretty fucking blown away at how gratuitously sexual it is, with obviously prepubescent girls. it's it's not in the gray area. So I watched probably a total of like 6 minutes of the movie, and they were just in like 1 minute chunks on Twitter, and that was enough for me to cancel my Netflix subscription that I've had for 11 years. So, yeah, Nate. Katie, my girlfriend, did watch the movie. She was curious after we watched the clips together, and she was curious about, if it's as bad as it looked, or if, maybe these clips were taken out of context. Or even, there's no way to take these clips out of context far enough. There's no context that would have I can't think of a single thing that would have justified them. But she was curious. She watched it. Her opinion hadn't shifted at all by the time she watched the whole movie. And so we canceled Netflix. Like I said, first time in I've had it for 11 years. And it's also the first time I've ever been outraged by something that's controversial. But lately, and that's what I was pulling up. There's been I've seen a lot of people defending it on social media, and so I want to kind of address some of the defenses. And really, what kicked this off is this morning. This morning, I was at work, and at work I throw my phone in my hard hat and I listen to things a lot. And one of the things I was listening to was a live stream from a YouTube channel called the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and they were talking about it, and they were. I mean, I couldn't have disagreed harder with what they were saying, and you can't talk back to a live stream. You can't tell them why the fuck they're wrong, and it's kind of sat on my brain all fucking day. So I'm just gonna go over it now. Hi Nate. Hi emailed Anthrax. So let me find one of these articles to jumpstart my brain in an argument point. And Netflix is losing a shitload of subscribers. You can follow the hashtag cancel Netflix on wherever. You can look at their stock prices. Their stock's dipping. Netflix is holding on to. They're not budging, which is weird. I don't get it. And well, before I get into the rebuttals, I just want to say my issue with it is, and I don't care about giving it attention now. I've heard people say you shouldn't, don't give it more attention, or you'll make people curious and more people will watch it. I don't give a fuck. It's already made. It's already out there. Watch it. I for sure think. What is happening? I for sure think that if you want to engage in the debate, especially or in the discussion about this movie, especially if you're going to defend it, you should watch it. It's already made. The damage is done. My thing is, I don't want this to become a part of. I don't want this to become an accepted part of culture. Pedophilia is not welcome in my Western culture. I'm just not woke enough. So that's my whole thing. I just don't want it normalized. Have any of you seen it? The View, those that group of awful women said they felt like the film sexualized young girls, but arguing the streaming service had been boycotted. Defend it. Cuties, written and directed by Mema Deuce, focus on 11-year-old girls who twerk all over the screen. My first problem with this is the cancel culture of this, the boycott. Boycott Netflix, cancel Netflix. I don't know how we went from not just disagreeing about a film to talking about a film having different opinions. I lose that. Different opinions to cancel a whole streaming service. Co-host, what's her face said. Well, it's about rejecting the entry to culture. I promise these bitches are not against cancel culture. If it was somebody conservative, if it was on the other side of the perspective, they would. I guarantee they'd cancel the hell out of things. But cancel the whole streaming service, yeah, because that's how you vote in our economy, in our society. You vote with your dollar, and people are voting Netflix out. They're voting Cuties out. I bet Netflix would get a lot of subscribers back if they acknowledged that they overstepped a boundary, removed the movie, and respected the wishes of the customers. Nobody wants this in our culture, except for a bunch of politicians. It seems like hair sniffing Joe Biden. And California just passed a law that I don't remember the specifics of it, but California just changed the law with regards to sodomizing children or the punishment or something. Is fucked up. This is giving me softer argument. I need to find an article that argues for it. Here we go. Rolling Stone. How Cuties is fueling the far right's obsession with pedophilia. The fight against sex trafficking has become politicized, and the misplaced outrage could be protecting actual child predators. That's what I want. I want to see how the fuck you tie that logic together. Kids needed to be defended and defended, protected, not exploited. I agree. Yeah, I do think that's the case. And I've been trying to I'm trying to approach this topic without fire hosing you guys with my sort of conspiratorial mindset. But I do think it's an intentional push to normalize things, and I do think that there's an intentional effort, and there has been for a long time, and it's been largely successful to undermine society's moral foundation, and it's worked really well. And if you undermine the morals of the culture, then you make the society weaker and easier to attack. So I think there's been a long-term globalist agenda. But anyways, I'm not getting into that shit now. And also, this is worth throwing in there. This adds to that sort of agenda thing. The Obamas and Netflix. The Obamas have a huge contract with Netflix. This article I'm looking at, maybe I can switch it over. What did I do? I went to the wrong one. Oh, that we're gonna go to that one in a second. But anyways, this article from April of 2019 about Barack and Michelle Obama signed a deal with Netflix. The Obamas have a production company called Higher Ground Productions, and they signed. They announced 7 projects that they'd be working on together. So the Obamas still have a lot of influence in our society and culture, and I think the two of them not denouncing, not addressing it, especially since they're so tied into this company and have so much leverage over it, is very telling of them. I mean, Michelle Obama likes to present herself as whatever the fuck she as a woman, but she's got a dick. But yeah, I think that was worth pointing out. All right, Rolling Stone, fuck off, cookies. Maybe they want to bring back right of the first. Far right. Yes, it's deep state shit. It is deep state. You undermine the values, you undermine the family. It's easier to control. It's easier to control a group of people if they don't have strong bonds, which start in the family, the nuclear family, and if they don't have any sort of moral boundary or guiding principle. And I think that this is a great demonstration of that. It really shows who doesn't have boundaries to me. Because a lot of most of the people defending it haven't seen it. I don't know how the fuck you're gonna. I gotta mute that site. I don't know how somebody's gonna just go in and take up the cause for Cuties if they haven't even seen it. I would want to watch it first before I defend it, because I wouldn't want to accidentally trip into defending pedophilia and child pornography, which I do consider it softcore child porn. The way that it's filmed, well, I guess there is one breast scene with one of the 11-year-old girls. I didn't see that part, but the way that it's filmed is very gratuitous, and I mean, you know what I'm talking about when you watch something, the way it's filmed, the way it's edited, the music, the lighting, all that stuff works together to set a mood and a tone for the video. And this tone, unlike some of the spin that we're going to get into, the tone is not like in the movie Crash, how it treats racism. You know, it's not a dark tone. It doesn't kind of leave you that way. It's pornographic. They really zoom in on crotches. There's a lot of creepy creepy zooming. That camera work is obscene. The twerking. I mean, you got one 11-year-old girl like twerking her no button. The other 11-year-old girl standing there slapping her ass like this, sitting there dancing. It goes on. You know, it's just weird. It's indefensible, but apparently Rolling Stone thinks that I'm obsessed with pedophilia and I'm helping child traffickers. So let's figure out how that logic works. No foreign film in recent memory has attracted quite as much scrutiny as Netflix's Cuties, directed by French Senegalese filmmaker, whatever her name is, Cuties, which was a hit when it premiered at Sundance last year, tells the story of an 11-year-old girl, Amy, who strays from her strict conservative religious Muslim upbringing to join a hip-hop dance troupe. At its essence, Cuties is a coming-of-age narrative and a commentary on social media's role in sexualizing children. But that was not what the film's poster, a luridly hued image of made-up prepubescent girls pouting at the camera and crouching in various suggestive poses, suggested. So right here, they're trying to set it up like we saw, like people saw the movie cover, the promo poster, and made our decision from that. What the fuck? Also, Sundance Film Festival, the fact that it won awards at Sundance is brought up a lot to validate it. Like, look, it's not porn, it's legitimate. It got an award at Sundance Film Festival, which is a European, or it was at Sundance in Europe. I think there's one in Colorado, but it was at the European Sundance Film Festival. So Sundance, one of the founders of Sundance, Film Festival is a pedo. Sundance Film Festival co-founder sentenced to 6 years in jail for child sex abuse. He was charged with sexually abusing a child starting in 2013 when the child was 7. So that's cool. Like that's the sort of people that are endorsing this and supposedly adding validity to it. They're not. Also, it's the European Sundance Film Festival. It's a European art film. Europe's culture, from what I know of it, I've never been there, but is I'm not surprised that it's acceptable in Europe. Still don't give a fuck. Like I don't want that to be acceptable in our culture. Yeah, yeah. Some pictures convinced me. There's plenty of pictures floating around the internet where you can see her bulge. There's also pictures of comparing scars. So her dude name is Michael something or other, and there's pictures of this Michael dude who's Michelle, an older picture of Michael, and if you look at the elbow, this Michael has like the exact same scar on his elbow that Michelle Obama does. So you can put the two pictures beside each other and sort of look at them. There's a lot of that stuff floating around, and I have some of them. If you scroll through the Flow State Twitter, which I'll throw up in a banner, you'll stumble across one or two because when I see them, I get a kick and I normally retweet them. But yeah, it's the pictures. I mean, you don't see that with anyone else. You don't see Melania Trump you don't see Lady Trump with fucking dick bulge in her dress. Even Hillary Clinton, who's more masculine than Bill, she doesn't have bulges. Smoke in my eye. That's my Twitter account. Also, if you want to see the clips from Cuties that I watched and got me all fired up, I did retweet that. So it's somewhere down on there. But that is what made me decide Michelle's a dude. And I don't even think that she was a good tranny. I mean, if you look at her standing by Barack, she's got linebacker shoulders. I've been boycotting them on accident my whole life, anyways. USA is predominantly conservative. That is true. And it's much more conservative than you'd think if just by living in here. But I'd like to keep it that way. At least with this shit. If we could legalize drugs and legalize prostitution and continue to keep child porn illegal, that'd be fantastic. I'd really like that. All right, where was I? No foreign film in recent memory has attracted quite as much scrutiny as Netflix's Cuties, directed blah, blah, blah. Social media's role in sexualizing children. That is something that I'm concerned about, mostly as a dad, because my daughter's 10, and I've heard some things. I'm haggling with her now to get rid of her TikTok. I'm not just gonna make her get rid of TikTok because she's had it for longer than I've known about it. But um, we're striking an agreement. The problem is we're stuck because she's a good negotiator and she wants me to make an opening offer. And I want her to make an opening offer. She's a fucking hustler. Many correctly point out that the poster was inappropriate. No, not even hardly inappropriate compared to the film. Those who had seen the film also correctly pointed out that it was misleading and offensive. That it was a misleading and offensive image to market what was actually a sensitive portrait of female adolescence by a gifted woman of color. I don't give a fuck what her gender or race is. You can have shitty women and you can have shitty black people. And what I can't say whether or not there was sensitive portraits in between the child exploitation, but I also don't give a fuck about that either. Many more people still incorrectly suggest that Cuties and its accompanying marketing materials were evidence of an underage child sex trafficking cabal in Hollywood. No, Cuties is not. I mean, I suppose it could be evidence, but it didn't start anything new, and yeah, that's been there for a minute. It was the kind of wild-eyed, hysterical allegation that, in previous years, would have primarily been promoted on fringe message boards and in Facebook posts authorized by crackpot ants only to quietly wither on the vine. They're starting to go after QAnon here. Yet this was not the trajectory of the Cuties debate. Yeah, because it's more outrageous. It's outrageous to everybody, not just us QAnons. In September, the film finally premiered on Netflix, giving people on the internet a chance to actually see it and weigh its merits for themselves. Mainstream public figures and organizations purported to be outraged by the film. In a letter, Senator Ted Cruz called for the Department of Justice to investigate Netflix and Cuties, which I saw that, and I feel like that's disingenuous. Like, come on, are you playing the conservatives much here, man? Senator Tulsi Gabbard tweeted Friday that the film will certainly whet the appetite of pedophiles and help fuel the child sex trafficking trade. It's for sure going to whet their appetites. What would fuel more sex trafficking is uh, reducing the stigma attached to pedophilia by letting this shit be normalized. Such accusations ended up fueling the discourse that Cuties was not a commentary on childhood sexualization, but a vehicle for childhood sexualization, to the degree that its defenders, including New Yorker's Richard Brody, don't know him, and Rolling Stone's own David Fear, don't know him, were subject to intense harassment on social media. Good. Don't support pedophilia, fuckers. Ultimately, the discourse surrounding Cuties not only drifted from the fringes into the mainstream, it was also framed entirely as in it was entirely it was framed entirely as entirely apolitical. Okay. I thought surely there weren't two entirelys there, and I was reading that wrong, but there are. As entirely apolitical, powered by little more than a stark moral imperative to oppose child sexual exploitation in the hands of the film's detractors. The discourse surrounding Cuties morphed from that of a complex film addressing faith, race, sexuality, to a war between two opposing groups, one with obvious moral leverage over the other, those who support child exploitation and those who don't. I mean, that is a pretty sexualized poster, but even then, like, that didn't really set me off. It creeped me the fuck out. But accusing leftists of pedophilia has become the latest rhetorical cudgel among those on the far right. Well, they shouldn't do shit like defend pedo movies. It's really easy to not get called a pedophile. You don't do shit like this. I've never been called a pedophile. The tactic has its roots in conspiracy theorist circles, such as the QAnon community. I knew they couldn't resist bringing it up, which is centered on the belief that a shadowy cabal and prominent left-leaning celebrities such as Tom Hanks, oh yeah, he's pedo, and Chrissy Teigen, I don't know who that is, are involved in child sex trafficking and baby eating ring. This is adrenochrome. As Rolling Stone has previously reported, QAnon has become increasingly mainstream in recent months. Yeah, because it's credible. Thanks to the explosive popularity of the Save the Children movement on Facebook and Instagram, as well as the success of a child trafficking conspiracy theory centered on the furniture brand Wayfair, it has a few months prior. And much of the apoplectic discussion surrounding Cuties was indeed clearly driven by conspiracy theorists. Well, we've been right about a lot of fucking things lately. We're on a winning streak. I don't know how people could not be conspiracy theorists at this point. At least a little bit. Like Jeffrey Epstein, we were right about a fucking billionaire who's got a pedophile island where he traffics in underage girls and all of his super elite buddies, and they all fuck him. So this isn't far-fetched. Oh yeah, the complex film thing. That's what I wanted to address. I bet they'll have more to say about it though. Oh no, I'll go ahead. It doesn't matter, and so that's the main argument. Is a it's meant to draw attention to and create discourse around the exploitation and sexualization of children. Well, they should do that without exploiting and sexualizing children. Then you can get your point across with quick scenes of maybe a booty slap or two, not 11-year-old girl drumming on an 11-year-old girl's ass, not shaking on the ground in fucked up ways. It overdoes it. It unnecessarily overdoes it. There's no need for that. Also, it was not presented originally as in this light. It wasn't until there was a lot of backlash that Netflix and the defenders started saying it was to protect kids from this shit and create some discourse around that. And like we've got a problem with that and drawing attention to it. Like that's complete and utter bullshit. There's an interview with the director where she explains the movie, and this is from, I think it's on Netflix, but it's from before all the drama, and she doesn't ever talk about the problem with sexualizing children. I mean, she mentions it once, I think, but it's brief. What she's really talking about is it's a coming of age film, and she incorporated a lot of her own emotional experiences into the film when she was coming of age. And the other part of it that really emphasized was it was a cultural, it was about multiculturalism, really. Those are the things she focused on. She's not concerned, and she wasn't trying to bring discourse to child sexualization. What she did say about sexualized children was that it's already happened. Like, look at beauty pageants. So she mentioned the existing exploitation of children in the not context of, hey, pay attention to this, we need to stop it, but in the context of, fuck off, look what they're doing. You know, it's defensive, which is bullshit. And those child beauty pageants are creepy as fuck too. Like, I'm not cool with that either. But they're fringy. Everybody knows they're creepy and weird, and it's like Honey Boo Boo. Fuck that shit. So there was a tweet here that I lost. I had it pulled up and I lost it. That I wanted to read because it articulated this discourse claim really well. I won't be able to find it now. Well, fuck it. So yeah, it's excessive. It's disingenuous. I don't believe that defense, anyways. It's ineffective, obviously, because the promotional materials, the trailers, the first impression, which is all you're going to get for a lot of people, is sexualized. So if you're actually trying to bring attention to this phenomenon so that you can reduce it, but your promotional material is going to leave a huge chunk of the population with the wrong impression, your marketing is backwards. So you failed there. You've also put a movie into society that has complex enough subject matter, apparently, that adults can fucking miss it, that kids for sure won't get it. And articles like this act as if people sit around and discuss or even really process this shit internally on their own. I don't know, anyways. People don't have discourse on it. you have to make your messages a lot more blatant than that. Crash is a good example I keep thinking of. It's the anti-racism and it is tangible. You're not gonna fucking miss that message. Moving on. What time is it? But the politicization of the discourse is not restricted to fringe circles. In May, Donald Trump Jr. posted a photo of former Vice President Joe Biden with the caption, "See you later, alligator," next to a photo of an alligator responding, "In a wild pedophile." I didn't see that. That's good. The post garnered more than 180,000 likes. Trump Jr. later attempted to claim he was joking, yet also appeared to double down, tweeting, "If the media doesn't want people mocking and making jokes about how creepy Joe is, then maybe he should stop unwanted touching and keep his hands to himself." I agree. There's a lot of good montages out there of him grabbing on kids and sniffing them, and I'm sure everybody's seen it. It goes without saying that Trump Jr. is promoting the baseless claims about Biden. Made little mention, they're not baseless at all, made little mention of the more than 24 sexual misconduct allegations against his own father. I believe that is, I think he's had 2 allegations. And the first one was completely baseless. I mean, the second one came out today. The first one was, I read, yeah, it was completely meritless. The chick who filed it filed an empty house, an abandoned house, as the address on the form. Um, it was just completely bullshit through and through, but it did its job. It got headlines up. But the claim that Joe Biden has been accused of child molestation has blossomed over the summer. It pre-existed that. Flourishing in darker corners of the internet, but also trickling into the mainstream, as demonstrated not only by Trump Jr.'s vile posts, but by the discourse surrounding Cuties. During a rally in Portland, Oregon last week, in which far-right Proud Boys, who's a great organization, by the way. They get a lot of bad press, but they're a great organization, were captured on camera beating BLM protesters. A man is heard jeering, "Another Joe Biden pedophile right here. He'll touch another little boy like that," to a naked man who is being sprayed with a fire extinguisher. I don't know why the fuck he's naked down there. Seems like a legitimate claim about a naked person at a fucking protest in Portland. The far right's quest to ferret out this secret cabal of pedophiles has resulted in not just online harassment and finger pointing, as was the case with Cuties, but in real world violence in Texas, where a QAnon supporter was recently arrested for using her car to attack 2 strangers she mistakenly believed to be child molesters. This article is so transparently political. They don't even give a fuck about Cuties. They don't like QAnon. They don't like Trump. And I mean, there would be no reason to get so fired up about QAnon if it didn't have some merit, huh? It'd go away on its own, probably. Oh, yeah, right there. Some pictures. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this girl's face on the left. Open the window. Anyways, I don't know if you can see it. She's like, these girls are clearly not comfortable. And who the fuck does that anyways? What grown ass man would do that to someone else's kid? They wouldn't do that to my fucking daughter, I promise you. I think that if I saw anybody doing that in public, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably go, Katie, look at this. What the fuck is that? I don't know. I think I covered everything I had. I will now attend to the chat. How many y'all are still here? 5. Maybe there was sexual allegations against Trump, but there was never any children involved in those allegations. That is true. Anything to do with child porn or not, it should not have been made with that kind of theme. Actually, I could be okay with the theme if the portrayals and dialogue and if the message is proper, like if it's done correctly. But this isn't that. Like, that's bullshit. This isn't a discussion of child sexualization. I don't know who you're talking about, but that's probably true. If I saw somebody do it in public, yeah, I would. Actually, I'd probably watch it until it had stopped. You know, I wouldn't let it continue. I would be looking for the kid's parents. Like, this is your job to step in here. I don't want to step into this old man little girl situation where I don't know either of them. It's not my place. Somebody else should be stepping into this shit. But I would watch it to make sure it didn't get weirder. The film has nothing. Oh God, the film has nothing to do with child porn. Nothing. It's on par with girls copying Britney Spears. That is a lie. It's not. And shows the parents being horrified and the lead character returning to her previous attire. I couldn't tell you because that's not what's going around the internet. That's not what the promotional material shows. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't care if I don't care if the movie ends with mom looking really sad. Like, all this shit in the middle, that's the problem. Sad mom at the end doesn't justify it. The What they've done is taking something that through and through, but for sure on its cover looks exploitative of children, and it is, but that's not okay. I'm not okay with that. Even if the film did have a message, which, like I said, Katie, my girlfriend, watched it, the whole thing. She was not impressed. Her opinion hadn't changed since we watched the clips on Twitter together, and they're still on my Twitter. If anybody wants to scroll down and find them, that's my Twitter handle right there. The filming was too gratuitous and too explicit, and had 11-year-old nudity from what I've read. I haven't seen that clip, but you can't justify it. I'm not. If I filmed dog fights, if Michael Vick filmed his dog fights and made a movie out of it for other dog fighters, presumably, but then people got mad. He said, "Well, I'm just trying to bring attention to it. We need to talk about this because this is how the real world is." Fuck you! I don't care how the real world is. Don't fight dogs so that I pay attention to dog fighting. That doesn't work. You can't pump media. If the problem is social media sexualizing children, why the fuck are you going to put more media out there for them to come across on Twitter like I did, where the focus is on the sexualized children? That's always where it was going to be. There's no way that you were going to make a movie that sexualizes children, but have that and have those not be the clips going around the internet. Nobody's going to send a picture or, the scene where mom looks sad and her daughter's in her normal clothes around the internet. That's boring. That doesn't grab attention. What does grab attention is these fucking girls humping the floor. It's probably illegal in public, lewd behavior. Yeah. Yeah. And they're minors. The parents will be the ones in jail. Well, they're foreign, so they probably won't be. And they've got the support of the woke culture cancer. You don't protect children by showing off children being sexualized and exploited and claiming you're protecting children. That is absolutely correct. And before the justification was protecting children, the justification was it's art, which is the most tired ass, worn the fuck out excuse for doing things that you shouldn't be doing. Like, what's her name? Marina Abramovich and her disgusting porn or art, her disgusting art. Or who's that chick? There was an artist a while back ago that I can't remember what the art was specifically, but it was a cross that had been smeared in shit and put in an art exhibit. I'm not religious really, but so I'm not a Christian getting mad about defensive Christian stuff. As a person, that's disgusting, that's revolting, that's not art, that's just offensive. You're just attacking Christians. It's not art. It's not art. It's just fuck you, Christians. That's all it is. From the fact that people are talking about it, that give it merit, it doesn't even need to be watched. It doesn't need to be watched. But like I said earlier, I don't think that at this point it's out. And it's not going to go back in the bottle. I do think, though, that the discourse around it is what's more important, and the resolution, and then what happens next. Because like I said, this shouldn't be normalized. So, but yeah, I think that if people are curious, go ahead and watch it. And if you're going to engage in discussions about it, if you want to get involved in this rhetoric while it's going on, watch it or watch some of it. Know what the fuck you're talking about. I fucking hate it when people start talking about things like they know shit about it. They don't know shit about it. Pedos, most of them don't get killed. They do have a terrible time, though. If you're a pedo and you go to jail, I mean, a lot of prisons have their own pedo wings, but most of them get beat the fuck up on the regular, or they have to buy protection from somebody, which either way, it wouldn't be good to be a pedo in jail or in prison. You still didn't watch the movie? How can you have an opinion? Okay. I mentioned a few times, I watched about 6 minutes, probably cumulative, um, and probably 4 one-minute clips. And then my girlfriend watched the whole movie. Her opinion wasn't changed, and which kind of verified my opinion of it from the clips, which was, this is so unnecessary. I can't think of anything else they could wrap around it to make these scenes justified, to make this shit okay. There's not a defense for it. What the fuck what could possibly be in the rest of the movie that would make that shit okay? What, the fact that at the end of the movie she changes back into her normal clothes? No. And if you're still here, how do you justify, like, what makes this okay to you? What in the movie am I missing? And what do you think's been achieved by it? If this is a good movie and a heartwarming discussion on girls coming of age and internet, whatever, what's been had from this? When you're making this movie and putting it out, what's the expectation? If you've got this movie and you got this poster, what the fuck do you think's going to happen with it? Do you think that people are going to walk away with a great take-home message? Fuck no. You know everybody's going to focus on the sexualization because that's what you're selling. That's what's sensational. That's what gets attention. And nobody gives a fuck about the message except for people who want to defend it. Why do you want to defend it? Why are you bothering to stand up for it? Why would you risk looking like somebody who supports pedophilia on this movie's behalf? Abstain from all appearance of evil. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad advice. I don't always follow it. I ain't putting that trash in my mind, not watching it. Thanks for the warning. My pleasure. Yeah, and after we canceled Netflix, I commented on my Facebook wall that I canceled Netflix after 11 years of having it. And the way that the comments blew up down there, I quit reading it after. I mean, I probably haven't read a quarter of the comments down there because there's only like 2 or 3 people who just can't seem to wrap their head around the fact that this is sexualizing children, and it doesn't matter what justification, what shitty lie of justification they have for it. Nevertheless, it is what it is. Those are images of girls that are sexualized, and it's gratuitous, and it's what's front and center. You can't exploit children to combat child exploitation. And if I'm not nuanced, if I don't have a nuanced enough perspective on that, then that's good. Yeah. Nobody should gaslight their own boundaries enough to be convinced that was basically softcore child porn is okay. It's okay though. It's okay that this is softcore child porn because at the end of the movie, you see the mom sad. Get the fuck out of here. Um. Oh, but yeah, back to this one. I don't need to watch the movie to have an opinion on it. I've formed a full opinion. Um, I don't know shit about Mulan 2020. Uh, I've heard that it's CCP Chinese propaganda with Disney. I'm not surprised. Disney is propaganda. Walt Disney worked with the CIA and was a Freemason, all that shit. Disney's way the fuck down in the shithole with everybody else. I think I'm pretty sure she's the same type as me. Like, I'm basically positive. She doesn't know that. I don't. Well, if she's not interested in it, she doesn't give a fuck. But I don't believe in introducing kids to type early because they just need to grow up into the person that they are. I mean, you see how adults handle that shit. They read a description, they identify with it. That a lot of people try to embody it or then use it to behave a certain way to certain people. Like even adults don't really handle type well as a whole. Why the fuck would I give that to a kid when they haven't developed yet and they're still growing into the person they'll be? And um, kids already treat each other fucking brutally a lot of the time. Yeah, it's just I don't think it would be a good contribution to her development to give her a personality description of how I'm telling her she is. We'll see. I'm gonna get rid of it anyways. I mean, the yeah, TikTok and what else? She's not allowed to have a few apps, and I can't remember what they are now. But kids spend so much time on social media and phones, especially since social distancing and all that, since everything's shut down because of coronavirus. Like that's how they socialize, um, is in games and on her phone and all that stuff. She spends a lot of time, playing games like Roblox and stuff and talking to her friends and stuff on that shit. But yeah, it that sort of technology and interface is a big part of kids' social lives now. So I'm not just gonna not let her do it, especially since she's an only child and there's been quarantine. Well, she's got a half brother. Her mom's got a son that's not mine. Anyways, I'm not taking away from her, and I don't have time. I mean, we've got the parental things, but I don't have time to monitor it in a way that I don't think I could be fooled. I mean, she's 10. She grew up with this shit. She could unlock she could unlock that phone when she's a fucking baby. It's crazy. Uh, and I mean, I'm just not arrogant or stupid enough to think that my kid can't outsmart me with this newer stuff. She can. She'll get around it. My knowledge is going to be behind hers on that stuff. Um, but there are a few apps she's not allowed to have. Transsexual. And yeah, I'd bet I don't know how much money, but I'd say in my mind it's like 80-20. 80% she's a dude. Oh, and if you haven't seen the video of oh my god, what's that bitch's name? Hold on. Joan Rivers. There's a video where Joan Rivers is talking to a reporter, and she said, the reporter says, "When do you think we'll have a gay president?" And she says, "We've already had one, Obama's." And the reporter's like, "What?" And she's like, "Everybody knows Michelle's a tranny. It's no big deal." But Suze, I was disappointed in your pedo promotions. Suze commented on my Facebook status saying it wasn't. She wasn't really promotion. It just was public non-condemnation, which is like soft promotion. Suze didn't think it was that bad. I think Sue saw the whole thing, so she saw more than I did. I'll give her that. She's also European, so you got some shit in your culture that I wouldn't want in ours, which mostly it's child sexualization. Also, I think that you've got a whole lot of immigrants tearing shit up. At least that's how it looks online. She was sad because her husband was taking a second wife. Okay, see, so whoever tried to say that used that as a defense for the child exploitation is misrepresenting things again. You mean you didn't test her cognitive functions? I did not. There is a video on talking with famous people from like fucking 4 years ago, 5 years ago, long time ago, when I lived in Pratt, where Eric came and visited me, and he did a typing session with her. She was little. He typed her ENTP. That's when we thought I was an ENTP as well. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was about to say you can look it up, but I don't trust those statistics on type distributions because A, where the fuck do they come from? B, how the fuck did you get them? C, why do you think this is an accurate representation of the world? Also, you have to keep in mind that type is, whether or not people like to admit it, to a very large degree, type is subjective. Just like any psychological diagnosis. It's my opinion of how you're behaving, or and you know how you operate, or it's your opinion of how you operate. Either way, it's a subjective measurement. My daughter is not even 2 yet, and she knows how to use YouTube. Yeah, it's fucking weird. Yeah, I saw it. I haven't seen the promotion and shit, but the story itself was not a narrative about pedophilia. No, and I don't think it was. And um, no, it's not about pedophilia, but caters to it. The visuals are pedophilic. And it does sexualize the fuck out of kids, prepubescent kids too. Like I said before, it's not like, for my whole life, there's been high school movies like American Pie and shit, where technically they're representing high schoolers and it's all sexualized and stuff, but it's different because they're post-pubescent. Having a sexualized 17-year-old and having a sexualized 11-year-old are worlds apart. But before we move on, it's not a narrative about pedophilia. That's correct. It's not. I never thought it was or said it was. It it caters to pedophilia. It normalizes pedophilia just by the fact that this is in pop culture that normalizes the sexualization of children, normalizes pedophilia, and if something is visually normalizing pedophilia, I don't give a fuck about the narrative. There's no narrative you can wrap around that. There were points that were obviously intentionally meant to be uncomfortable. Maybe they were. I will say that the scene where the main character, she runs in the bathroom with a cell phone and locks the door behind it. I don't know how they got there, but she goes in the bathroom, locks the door. Her dad chases her and is banging on the door, give me back that phone. And she sits on the floor. She takes her pants off and sits down and takes a picture of her crotch. That was kind of you could tell that there was tension and drama and things weren't all good in that scene. I still don't. But most of it wasn't. Most of what I saw was not disturbing like that. You could say that scene was disturbing or unsettling, but there's plenty of it that I've seen that was not, and it was presented gratuitously and excessively. You could have gotten the point across with a lot less. If, let's say that those things were put into a context that I could get on board with, they overfilmed it. There's unnecessary sexualization in there. They could have got their point across with way less. Did you make mac and cheese?
No.
You didn't?
No.
I've been hungry for 3 hours.
I made the thing. Let me make something now.
Yeah.
You want mac and cheese or you want beef? Au jus stuff.
I want mac and cheese.
Kraft or shell?
Shell. Fuck the cameraman. It's the director that decides how those scenes go. No normal dude would film something like that. And that's true. That's because, and I don't think it's normal dudes that are defending it. I think it's only pedophiles and the toxic left. And that's right. They are fucking toxic. far enough. If you're going to defend, if you hear somebody saying this movie is perverted and it sexualizes children, and you defend it without even having watched the clips, like I just don't get why you would rush to the defense of if somebody's making that accusation. You don't rush to the defense of the pedophile offender. You just don't do that. So why? I mean, I probably disagree with your overall view. Maybe. I don't know. Why is it good? I think it's good that people are discussing it because I think the backlash is good. I'm actually pretty pleased with how people just aren't having this shit. So, given the situation we're in, I do think it's good that people are talking about it. That's why I'm talking about it. However, I don't think that there's a pre-existing situation that necessitated this movie. My the streaming platform I'm on, the comments show up there's a little bit of a lag on my end. So if you've responded and I'm not seeing it, I'll chill a second. But I mentioned earlier that this morning I was listening to a podcast, or it's another YouTube channel. It is the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and they were discussing it, and their conversation on it was defensive. They defended it, but they're atheists, and just like the Rolling Stone article was really about attacking QAnon and Trump supporters. The Daily Atheist was really, those four guys were really attacking Christianity and Christian values. They're attacking religion still. So it's getting used as a proxy war or a proxy thing. I personally, as a conservative, I mean, yeah, I consider myself, I'm for sure not liberal. I'm a conservative who wants people to be able to do drugs and buy prostitutes. I'm pleased to be in the group that's not associated with pedophiles. When there's backlash against pedophilia and the sexualization of children, I'm glad to be in the side that's pissed off about it and not the side that everybody assumes is comfortable with it. I just think it's interesting how much stronger the reaction is when the girls are 11 than when it's toddlers and tiaras putting their ass in the air followed by a finger in the mouth. I have not, and yeah, I don't watch that shit. So I don't know, if that, I don't know. I'm not surprised that's out there. I just don't know where it is. It's not being pushed in my face. It's not If it's on Netflix, you got to look for it. And which brings it all back to the cultural normalization of this shit. The fact that things are happening and the fact that there's the toddlers and tiaras sucking their fingers, I'm not surprised it exists, but it hasn't jumped in front of my face. And there's all sorts of things I disagree with in the world. I can't address all of them. I'm not about to address all of them. And I don't think that's and that's another argument I hear a lot, which is, well, you can't get mad about X if Y, right? You can't be mad about Cuties if you're okay with teen beauty pageants or kids beauty pageants. You can't be mad at Cuties if you're not outraged at the Catholic Church. You know, like people are always they're trying to devalue an opposition to something or turn it into a hypocritical situation that's just not there. Cuties came into my world, into my awareness. I'll address that without feeling the need to solve all the world's problems. You can address it. You should address a problem when it happens. What you shouldn't ever do is not address a problem because you feel like it would be hypocritical unless you addressed all the problems. That's absurd logic. It's not there. And Suze, that little spiel I just did, I wasn't responding to you so much as I was, projecting other shit I heard into your comment. Well, in this, to be this prominently featured on such a big streaming platform, I mean, yeah, it is. I think it is. This degree and this publicity, it is different. I don't know what TLD is. Oh, TLC. No, I don't watch that. I don't know. And I don't really know people who watch TLC. Well, I mean, I'm using myself as an example of. I can only speak for myself, but I think I'm probably representative of most of the people. Most people aren't watching teen beauty shows, but we'll be pissed when they know about it. And which I think is right. If you want to do weird, creepy shit with kids, you should have to hide that. I mean, I guess Toddlers and Tiaras was on TLC. I've heard of that. I never watched it, but I'm quite sure that there's no way it's as graphic or as overtly sexualized. There's just no way as Cuties was. I guess I better look up a clip real quick. My search history is going to get me put on a list for this shit. Toddlers and Tiaras. This tweet says, Toddlers and Tiaras on TLC for 5 years without eliciting as much controversy as Cuties, particularly from the right wing. Whoop, whoop. Proud to be the group representing not pedophilia. I can't imagine why.
This is rude, and we're saving good drivers hundreds on car insurance.
I mean, because it's not nearly as sexual. This girl is not dressed. She's dressed in a tank top and pants. She did cartwheel. It's weird. The dad's creepy as fuck, but it's not nearly as direct. Yeah, I mean, I don't. This is not the same thing. Not even close. Is it creepy? Yeah. Is it this in the same vein? Yeah. Is it even close? No. I'm sure it varies, but I mean that clip was the one that was linked by somebody making the same argument, and that clip also it reflects the impression I got of it. Earlier in the video, I jumped around. She, like I said, she did some kicks and some cartwheels and stuff, but she was dressed. The camera was stable. It wasn't zooming in on her crotch. She wasn't slapping another girl's ass. But either way, even if Toddlers and Tiaras is every bit as bad or worse, that doesn't. It was out of my awareness, as I assumed as. I mean, I think that that's a healthy assumption, and even if it wasn't out of somebody's awareness, so what? So you didn't say anything about Toddlers and Tiaras when it was on TLC. Who gives a fuck? I don't know why. Maybe you're a pussy and you didn't want people online to get mad at you, and maybe you liked it at that time and now you don't like it anymore. I don't know but it doesn't matter. Just because you let shit slide then doesn't mean you should not. You should let it now. You could apply that same logic to a woman in an abusive relationship. I don't think anyone would tell a woman like, "Hey, he's already beat you up like a shitload before. You might as well just let him keep doing it." That doesn't work. It's late. I'm about done, I think. Thank you for watching. I hope that you've all learned to agree with my assessment of this because it is the right one. Good night.